Our dear stars, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear stars from Britain Church, you are most welcome. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear Iron, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear Susan, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear Preston, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear Christians, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today. Our dear visitors, you are welcome today on this great occasion. We thank our God who has brought you here on this great occasion today.
It was 1962 when Uganda, under Milton Obote, gained independence from British administration. In 1971, the army took over under Idi Amin. There was a complete breakdown of the economy, the infrastructure, law and order. The atrocities committed on the people of Uganda are all too familiar. It culminated in the Israeli raid on Entebbe Airport. In 1979, when Obote regained power, the atrocities continued, and it wasn't until 1986 that some peace was restored under the current president, Museveni. Despite the horrors and destruction of the last 30 years, Uganda remains breathtakingly beautiful and welcoming. It sits on the equator on the north shore of Lake Victoria. To the east is the more prosperous Kenya. Zaire to the west is less secure. Sudan to the north is still in conflict. And then there's Rwanda to the south. This is Kampala, a city of nearly 1 million people. At the centre of the city are the areas of derelict waste ground on which a people's economy is flourishing with little appearance of authority and control. Everyone has to look smart, so tailoring and dressmaking is a good line to be in. A sewing machine may be hard to come by, but it gives you a way of earning a living, independence. That's what everyone needs, a living. They all want to sell you something. In fact, almost anything's available at a price. Consumer goods that are manufactured or imported seem to cost about as much as they do in the UK, but then incomes are a fraction of ours. This young man is disabled from polio, like a great many others, yet he has an adapted tricycle, and he makes a living of sorts in the market. There are just so many second-hand clothes on display. No wonder the government has put an import tax on them to encourage the country's cotton industry. Uganda's parliament is the centre point of a new constitution, on which Uganda goes to the polls around November 1994. The constitution ensures democracy from village councils to the National Assembly here in Kampala. There's something rather disturbing about the vultures and marabou stork that roost on the roof of the Parliament building.
Yeah.
On the more prosperous hills of Kampala are the new hotels, all sprouting satellite dishes, the Sheraton, and the fairways where we spent our first, barely one-star night in Uganda. Like every other scrap of land in Kampala, someone's planted maize beside the main road. New industries are springing up, funded by Asian and multinational companies. Our friend Michael is proud of the changes. With aid from the Far East, a spectacular stadium is growing up on the outskirts of Kampala. Pity the Ugandan team couldn't afford to get to Nairobi for the qualifiers for the World Cup. Building on a smaller scale makes a sprawling city. We're on the main east-west highway, linking Mombasa on the Kenyan coast with landlocked Uganda and Rwanda. Pepsi and Vimto imported Western culture. But even roadworks are a good sign, proving that some infrastructure at least is being maintained. The road passes through a fragile remnant of original rainforest, most of it flattened for sugar and tea plantations. Oh, there goes one of the thousands of taxis which crisscross the country and make up Uganda's reliable public transport system. The highway crosses the River Nile at the Owen Falls Dam, generating electricity for the lucky few. Only 4,000 miles through the desert in that direction to the Mediterranean. We're now entering Busoga.
The source of the Nile.
Standing at the source of the Nile, where the river emerges from Lake Victoria, is Jinja, the principal town of Busoga.
You'll take responsibility for it, will you, John?
Amid a profusion of wild flowers and exotic birds, a brief chance to enjoy tourist Africa, Jinja was for us a place of tranquility.
Jinja is just the sort of place where Paul's mum can be assured that he's in the safest possible hands.
Frightening. Absolutely frightening.
This is the Busoga Trust Guest House, established to provide refuge for visitors who've come to Busoga to live or work. The surroundings are lovely. There are even pawpaw trees in the garden. Don't expect washing machines or tumble dryers in Uganda. And don't expect men to do any of the real work either.
Simon Kimberley is one of those who live here in Jinja. He oversees the work of the Busoga Trust. He sees links like ours as very important.
I think that, like most things in Busoga, everything's evolving and developing, but in essence, the links work by communication between the schools or the parishes, and also schools and parishes back in England raise money specifically for work in their link school or parish. And I think this has been important factor for for the donor parishes, because not only they're not contributing to a big pot, but they're contributing to a specific project which they can come out and see and visit. And I think that the visiting aspect, because it's not just one way, it's not just English people visiting Busoga, but also people from Busoga are now visiting England.
It's my birthday, and today's the day we're off to Namalemba. With us in the minibus is Juliet Weiswer, who works for the diocese in Jinja. Her father's the headmaster of Namalemba Primary School, and she's taking the chance of a lift home to see the family. Mark is our driver. He's going to drop us off in Namalemba and return to Jinja. This is a very different Uganda. The road is of red murram, the laterite mud which covers so much of Africa. In the rainy season it must be impassable. We heard stories of potholes large enough to lose a VW Beetle. It's probably easier by bicycle. Most of this part of the country is on a plateau 3,500 feet high, and here it's slashed with papyrus swamps. In Namalemba, some of them are used for growing rice. We're told that up ahead, at the top of that rise, is Namalemba. This is it, the Reverend's house. Lots of faces. But who are they? I think we're a bit early. That's unheard of in Africa, and everybody's busy somewhere else.
Welcome.
Hello, nice to see you.
How are you?
How are you? Very well, thank you.
How is there?
Very well, thank you.
How is there? That's a greeting we got used to later. We're looking for familiar faces. This is what it must be like to be a diplomat or a royal. Just keep smiling, shake hands. But what do they make of us? Everyone's very friendly. They've all seen our photos. They know us.
Stephen, hi.
My name is Namalemba.
Hi.
I'm quite well.
My name is Eswa.
My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. You are?
Samuel.
Samuel, okay. Samuel's. Hello.
That's Samuel, the lay reader.
Yes. He's around. He's around.
Mark, the driver, has the camera.
You enjoying that bark?
Yeah, my vehicle, yes.
Suddenly everyone breaks into song. It's unnerving.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
Fine. What's your name?
My name is Aida Kaidiga. Mrs. Reverend.
Ah, it's all beginning to make sense.
It was very good. Very good.
This is Paul. This is Paul. How'd you do? Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
My name is Aida Kaidiga. Mrs. Reverend.
Mrs. Reverend.
Yes.
Okay. Can I call you Mrs. Reverend?
Yeah. How is Mrs. Rose?
Mrs. Kaidiga asks about the last visitors, Joan Cross and Joan Holt and the Reverend Jeff Watson.
Joan Holt and from Joan Cross.
Also, is where?
They would
How
wish
about me, Reverend?
Yes,
Reverend
Reverend
Watson.
Reverend Watson.
He's no longer in our church. He's now moved about 200 miles away.
Yes.
From the
I'm
Beaten
50.
Church.
Yes, he's in another church. And he's now an archdeacon.
I think you have communicated. You have.
Yes.
We saw him about two months ago.
We went to visit him.
We went to visit him.
And I brought a photograph
Hey.
to show you.
Have you seen the photo from this way, Martha and Bishop?
Yes, he baptised Martha.
Oh.
Yes, we know all about that. Well, you're so cool and we're so hot.
This is our son. This is Uganda. This is Namalemba. This is the house of Reverend.
Yes.
Our church is there. You will see it later.
Yes.
At last, the welcoming face from the photos, Jonathan Bianzi, chairman of the Development Committee, and our host for the next 6 days.
Paul with the camera.
He has a camera so that we can show pictures to
Very fine.
So nice to meet you.
Very fine, Jonathan's favourite expression. We all make our way just across the road to the school. We're introduced to the headmaster, Juliet's dad, Daniel Weiswa.
Nice to see you again. It's very good, thank you. Hello, good to see you again. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Introductions over, and the honoured guests are treated to a floor show from the girls of the Namalemba Primary Boarding School. Later, they were to serve us with an enormous and very enjoyable meal. Meals consist of rather gristly pieces of chicken, sometimes rice, and always the great favourite, matoke, a dish consisting of cooked banana, tasting rather like mashed potato or swede. Everything is eaten with fingers, even gravy. This is Namalemba Primary versus Minani Youth. A draw, if I recall. No prizes for the camera operator.
And yes, he touches the ball. Paul has an unfair advantage, and it isn't his height. He's got shoes on.
This is one of the balls we brought over from England, courtesy of Bittern Explorers. They were very generously donated by Pizza Hut. That's Pizza Hut. Footballs are one small way in which we can bring a great deal of benefit to Ugandans. Without inflatable footballs, they have to kick around bundles of banana leaves, which don't quite have the same feel as footballs. It's Sunday morning, the beginning of a 4-hour celebration in Namalemba Parish Church. We're not very comfortable being up the front like this.
For many of the congregation who don't speak any English, hymns, Bible readings and sermons take place in Lusoga, the local language. It's quite close to Luganda, the dominant Ugandan language. We managed to buy some Luganda Bibles and ginger for our friends in Namalemba. Reverend Harriet Makumba, newly appointed curate of Namalemba.
Jonathan gives a speech of thanks and welcome.
We thank our brothers and sisters of Newton Church who have helped us in giving us some clothes, sewing machines, textbooks for schools, and other things. We find ourselves without words to use to express our gratitude for what you give us. We are very grateful. Your visit has given us courage and hope. And we would like to confirm to you that Namalemba is twinned to Bitani. And at the same time, to ensure you that nothing will separate us apart from God. We request you that when you go back, extend our sincere greetings to our brothers and sisters in Brittany, and we pray, Almighty, that He keeps you safely while here and guide you while going back home. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Ian's privilege to do the reading in English. Unfortunately, not all the adults in the congregation will understand it.
Do not be surprised, my brothers, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love our brothers. Anyone who does not love remains in death.
I want to welcome you once again to this place because I saw you before we met this morning. I saw you before we have met this morning. He showed me a photo, so it means I saw you.
This is Jonathan, the Archdeacon of Namatumba, who was to accompany us wherever we went.
God has enabled you to visit this place. I remember I visited him. You sent him a cassette where there was a sermon where they talked about Namalemba and they talked about Busoga as a whole. So, although you are very far, we communicate in all ways.
I've got a beautiful basket here full of oranges and some really good maize.
Sue discovered a new talent. The collection is in the form of mangoes, eggs and maize, so the church raises actual money by auctioning it.
Would anybody like to make an offer for the whole basketful? 200? 200? 500. 500. Any more offers? 500 I'm offered.
600? 600.
600? 2,000? 3? How was that? 2,000? Any more offers on 2,000? No more offers? No, for the third time then, to the gentleman over there. 2,000.
2,000 shillings, that's about £1.50. That's the Mothers' Union. The white gomaz is their uniform.
This is my family.
This is Wilson Kaidiga, vicar of Namalemba, our constant companion. He'd like to introduce his little family, providing he can remember all their names.
This is Robert. Ronald. This is Beth. This is Juliet. This one is Becca. This one is Geoffrey. This is Charles. This is Charles, the firstborn. Dina, second. This one, Richard, the third. And this one is Noah.
Noah?
Yeah. We have Noah.
A couple of miles from the church is Jonathan Byanzi's house, where we stay. Jonathan's proud of his home. By Namalemba standards, he's rather well off. He's a retired head teacher. It's just after 6 in the evening, and because we're more or less on the equator, very soon it'll be dark. Just time to see some of Jonathan's land before the light goes. The tank collects rainwater from the iron roof. Those are canna lilies in Mrs. Byanzi's flower beds. The pit latrines or long drops.
And it doesn't smell, just in case anybody asks.
Tramping through the pumpkin patch.
Mind that one down there.
Through groves of plantain.
Banana. So this isn't plantain now. This is banana, or it's still because this is what you make matoke from. Matoke.
Yeah, I hope I shall be growing. One of Jonathan's potato patches. He suggests that, like others in the area, he could do with a plough to turn it over.
A plough, yes.
Where will you
use the animals to plough.
I'm with you. Before we go any further, let me just make sure that we all know that this is Charles, Anthony, and Christopher. Christopher is Jonathan's son. Anthony is your grandson, but not Christopher's son. And Charles doesn't belong to anybody except he's a very good friend. These are coffee seeds.
Coffee seeds.
Can you see those?
Yeah, not yet ripe.
Not ripe yet.
Yeah, unripe. This is thick berry.
Thick berry. Thick berry, of course it was.
But there's what they call lantana camara. The botanical name, lantana camara.
Lantana camara. It smells a bit of lavender.
Thick berry. And some nice flowers.
Yes, mint. Yes, it's mint. That's what it smells of. Me saying lavender. Yes, it's lovely.
That's my shamba of trees.
Shamba of trees.
Yes.
Jonathan's shamba of eucalyptus trees are an investment for the future. They'll be sold and used for all sorts of things, building, telephone poles and so on. The light has practically gone. In the yard at the back of the house, preparations for an evening meal are underway. Anthony's just doing a spot of washing up. Christopher and his family are making a cake. The table is laid, ready. You never quite knew who would turn up to join us for meals. A real open house with the most wonderful, generous hospitality, and talking long into the evening. Morning breaks early, and chores began before dawn for the whole family.
Anthony is bringing the cow for milking, ready for breakfast. He's got a real knack.
Unlike some people.
I'm a natural, aren't I? Like cow. I don't like those horns.
The school truck is ready. It's going to take the 3 Mzungus, travelling for 3 long days in the rest of the parish. We had absolutely no idea what we were in for.